Nigel Farage slams Remainer establishment after being snubbed again for Brexit knighthood. The former Ukip leader has confirmed that he will not be receiving the honour from the Queen when this year's New Year's honours are announced next week. Speaking of the revelation, Mr. Farage said, "Of course I have not got an honour of any kind. I am not a Remainer. Every one of them got CBEs, they got knighthoods, quite extraordinary. I have got a Brexmas present far more important than the honour. A campaign to get back British, blue, passports has been successful. I held that passport up every day, during the referendum campaign, so I couldn't be happier." News of Mr. Farage being overlooked for a knighthood this time around was not met with sympathy by everyone. Left-wing commentator Owen Jones sarcastically tweeted, "Yet more state persecution and oppression inflicted on the British Mandela." The issue of a knighthood for the leading Brexit campaigner was also brought up earlier this year as claims surfaced the former Ukip MP Douglas Carswell blocked attempts to give Mr. Farage the honour at last year's New Year honours. In the wake of last year's referendum, Ukip's former leader Lord Pearson of Rannoch first tried to organise a peerage for Mr. Farage, backed by Ukip peer Lord Willoughby de Broke. But his plans were dropped once it was realised that Mr. Farage would have to resign as an MEP before being allowed to accept the peerage. Lord Pearson then approached the Cabinet Office's Parliamentary and Political Service Honours Committee about a knighthood for Mr. Farage, but his application was turned down at the end of July last year. He then asked Mr. Carswell, who was the party's sole MP in Westminster at the time, to approach the government's chief whip Gavin Williamson about appealing the decision to reject Mr. Farage's application. Mr. Williamson at the time was an official member of the Honours Committee and was permitted to recommend honours to MPs who represent minor parties in the Commons. According to The Telegraph, on December 30, 2016 Lord Pearson emailed Mr. Carswell saying, "Dear Douglas, could you let me know how your talk with Gavin Williamson went before Christmas? By phone if you prefer? Good wishes. Malcolm." Mr. Carswell replied the next morning, the day that year's New Year's honours were announced, saying, "As promised, I did speak to the government chief whip. Perhaps we might try angling to get Nigel an OB next time round? For services to headline writers? An MBE, maybe?" Mr. Farage has said the leaked online exchange revealed that Mr. Carswell was consumed with jealousy and a desire to hurt me. However, Mr. Carswell said the leaked email confirms that I made every effort to make sure that Ukip got its fair share of peerages and honours.